Hello, everyone. My name is Marius, and together with my colleague Vlad, we will present you how we scale NFT collections. When I first applied to ETH Belgrade, I made a promise to the organizer that I will wear a Lepa Brena shirt, which is a promise that I kept. This is the Lepa Brena Sandbox version. Yeah, I have to admit that I feel really welcome here. And it's not just because the organizer did such a great job, but most of my memories as a kid are related to Serbia. While Lepa Brena was always on the radio, I really enjoyed the Chipiripi chocolate. Also, I want to announce that two of the best questions from the Q&A session will be rewarded with the same shirts as us. A bit about us. We both work as tech leads for Sandbox. And we also co-founded QED, which is a software company that was trusted by Sandbox to get things to the next level. Our journey started 2 years ago with a crew of 4 developers, and now we are over 25 people in the team. Our office is located in Romania, in the city of Timișoara, which is also the European Capital of Culture this year. So if you plan to do a visit, feel free to reach to us. We can show you some cool places. The first NFT collection that we created was the Doggies, which is the Sandbox official collection for Snoop Dogg. This was a real hit. 10,000 NFTs sold out in like 20 minutes. This generated a huge demand for more and more Sandbox official collection. But also, with the increasing popularity of NFTs, we had to integrate pre-existing NFT collection into the ecosystem. For example, we had to integrate Bored Apes into the game, so you can play with your avatar. We started with one collection every 2 months, and we had to launch up to 4 collections per month. However, our previous infrastructure was not capable to handle this level of demand. This presented 3 major issues. But first, let's take a brief moment and define what an NFT collection is in the context of Sandbox. An NFT collection in the Sandbox is made of 3 parts. It has a web application, which is the minting D app, the smart contract, which is an ERC 721, and the art integration, which is a process that Vlad will further detail. For all of this, we hit some bottlenecks. But let's take a detailed look into the web applications. The web application for the NFT collection is made from 2 parts. One is the landing page, and the second one is the minting page, which serves solely for the minting purposes. For the landing page, the marketing team has to use it in order to promote the collection, highlight the utilities and uniqueness of the collection, and needs to be customizable. By customizable, I mean it should have the look and feel of the client. As you may see on the slides, for example, the Paris Hilton collection was very, very bright and pink. Moving on forward, as we create more and more collections, we begin to identify mechanics and components recurring on the pages. As you might notice, all of the Sandbox collection follow the same structure. All of them have characters on the page. They have a section where we define the trades. They have a trailer, and so on. In order to speed up the development of these pages, we extracted all the recurring components into a small UI library, a component kit. This component kit provides a set of components that are accessible and mobile-ready, and they can be used to bootstrap pages really, really fast. The only thing we have to do is apply the styles, add the content, and we are done. Also, one good thing about this component kit is that it ensures consistency between our collections. Okay, now the problem with the development was fixed. We could develop pages really fast. But we were still tied to the main Sandbox application, which is a huge monolith with a lot of legacy. As you may expect, it has its own lengthy release cycle. So even though we managed to create the pages really, really fast, we could not release as we had to wait for the main application to be released. In order to fix that, we created a micro front-end architecture. So we extracted all the collection into micro front-ends with its own CI, so can be independently built. They are autonomous, and they build into static files. So that means they can be ready to deploy on IPFS. Okay, now that we create really fast, we can deploy every time we want, we can release very often. But that was not real fun, as we were left with duplicating code from previous collection. When we wanted to create a new collection, we just duplicate, change some configuration file, update the styles, update the content, and we are ready for production. So in order to fix the duplication issue, we created a CLI app called Create Sandbox Collection, which was highly inspired by the famous Create React app, which ties everything together. And using this tool, you can bootstrap collection in a matter of seconds. As a side note, this works only for the Sandbox collection. Now, the developers were happy. We could release and create and build in a fun way. But our users were not quite there. As a data-driven team, we place great emphasis on analyzing user behavior during the minting period. By checking that data, we managed to find some really interesting things. For example, we find some stuff that cause frustration, and at some point, even the stoppage of the minting process. One key feature that we developed in the new user experience was the transaction history list. But to understand why this one was so important, I need to give you some context. During the early days of Sandbox, everything was deployed on the mainnet. And it was the good old days, everyone wanted to mint. This caused the network to be congested and also the transaction resolution time to be very lengthy. So let's take a look at the left GIF. The user click the button to mint, they see a loading spinner and a loading message. This could take up to 15 minutes, and they don't know what happened. They refresh the page, they see the button again, they try to mint again. This caused unintentionally multiple mints. So we solved this problem with the transaction list. When you create a transaction, you will see the transaction in the list with the status in real time. Even though you have a pending transaction and you refresh the page, you could see a small warning that you have a pending transaction. And if you want to mint again, definitely you could do it. Another pain point for our user was the way we displayed the errors, which was one at the time. As an example, let's say that we are on a wrong chain and we don't have enough Matic or ETH to pay for the gas fee to mint the NFT. You will go to the page, in the previous UX, of course. You'll try to mint. You'll see that you have the wrong chain error. You have to manually change the chain, then refresh the page, then try to mint again, and you see that you don't have enough Matic to pay for the gas fee. To fix this issue, we proactively display the errors, and also we added call to action to switch the chain automatically. Press a button, you switch the chain, and you're done. Okay, now that the web application problem was fixed, we encounter the same issues, but on the smart contract area. In order to create a new collection contract, we had to duplicate some code from the previous collection. So we duplicate the code, we change the name, we change the supply, and then, as we place great value on security, we send the code to audit. We wait for around 2 weeks. We get response. If they request changes, we implement the changes, we send back to audit, and we have to wait. This delay caused us to almost miss some of the deadlines. In order to fix that, as all of the Sandbox avatar collection are the same, we extracted the code into a generic contract, And when we create a new collection, we just extend that generic contract, we pass the correct arguments, and we are ready to deploy. The audit time was, the auditing was made only once for the generic contract. And of course, if you want new feature on the contract, we have to send it to the audit again. But this is scaling really nicely. But I will let Vlad tell you more about this.
Thank you. Right. So first, I want to mention that everything we are doing on the smart contract development side is open source and is free to use. So you can go to our Sandbox repository in the GitHub and take the smart contract, deploy it, and you're going to have a Sandbox collection. Now, as a side note, we also did some open source contribution for the OpenSea registry filters. So all of our generic contracts are compliant with the OpenSea royalty systems. This generic contract approach works if you have 2, 3, 4 collections per year. But if you want to deploy even more and more and more collections, it's getting heavier and harder to manage. You need a technical person to deploy the contract, and you need somebody to manage it, so on and so forth. So for that, right now we are in audit with the 3rd generation of our contract based on the factory pattern and beacon pattern. And the whole idea is that you're going to have a UI, a back office in our admin area, and our non-technical staff can deploy, create, and manage the collections as they see fit. The last problem that we encountered and tried to solve is the one of art integration and art scaling. In order to create 3, 4 collections per month and to bridge more than 500,000 of avatars per year, you need a system that can integrate, generate, and manage the 3D models, 2D previews, and the traits and the metadata of those avatars. To give you a little bit of a context of why this problem is complex and complicated, let's talk a little bit about an avatar anatomy inside the Sandbox ecosystem. Inside Sandbox, an avatar is composed of 3 main components. It has the 3D model, which has 2 subcomponents, has the GLTF and the GLB files that are available on different model viewers, in browsers, in AR apps, VR apps, so on and so forth. But you also have our VXC proprietary model that is playable only in-game and is highly optimized for voxels. The second component is the 2D representation of that 3D model. Those 2D are the PFPs, the images, the JPEGs that you're going to see on OpenSea, on Twitter, and use them as you see fit. And the traits are the text representation of those visualizations. When we started last year, it was really a pretty brand new territory for most of us. We didn't have the tools to create or bridge avatars. And the tools that existed, they were like pretty generic, doing PFPs or doing all the type of collections. But for us, we have this hard dependency on the 3D models and the voxels themselves. More specifically, we have this problem in which you need to map a certain trait to the 3D models. So to give you an example, here you can see a golden bored ape. And if you want to make that golden bored ape in Sandbox, you need to define a skin trait with the value golden, and somehow to map that trait affects all the 3D nodes from the 3D model. So in this case, it's going to affect the head, left, right arm, legs, chest, torso, everything. As a first solution, we implemented some stuff in a Google spreadsheet tool, in which you can define all the traits. You can define their scarcity. It has a randomization algorithm. And it has this ability to map the 3D nodes with the traits. Here's an example of the Playboy collection, in which you can see the mapping is done really simple and basic with just some axes. All the tokens generated and randomized, their weights, and much more features like description, inclusion rules, so on and so forth. This tool outputs a package that is used by the art team in order to model your 3D collection. So now that our traits and metadata are solved, the 3D art team, they developed the collection, it's time to generate the 3D models. And we did that by using some glucose scripts, using VoxEdit, Blender, a mix and match of everything. And the whole collection, the first collection, were generated on a laptop, just clicking and running some random commands. Now, obviously, this does not scale in our ecosystem. So for that, we moved everything that was locally running into the cloud. And we did a cloud pipeline that is composed of multiple AWS step functions that underlying they use Lambda, Dockers, containers, certain processes. And those components, you can mix and match them as you see fit in multiple workflows. And those workflows are gated by some AWS gateway endpoints, API endpoints. Now, on top of that, we have a small UI. So every single non-technical person from our staff can generate and operate a collection. Here is an example of Paris Hilton being generated. First, we receive the package from the art team. We ingest that into our pipeline. Then we generate the 3D models in parallel, really efficient, with a caching mechanism. So if the art team wants to change just one trait or just one model of the collection, only the models that are affected by that change is going to be generated, so not the entire collection. Second step is aggregating the previews, aggregating the models, generating then the previews, still in parallel, still using the same mechanism, this time using some more powerful GPUs machine. And finally, packing everything together and inserting in our storage. I'm glad to say that this tool was used by our non-technical staff to generate over 500,000 of avatars in less than 2 days without any technical interference. Our next steps right now are working on solutions that's gonna bring everything together that I mentioned. So I integrate that one into the sandbox. So you're gonna be able to create your own collection, define the traits, generate the models, and have the entire collection in Sandbox just by filling some forms and pressing one click. This collection is going to be available for our landowners. This tool is going to be available for the landowners. And yeah, it's still in development, and it's not going to be just for avatar, it's going to be for different kind of assets like houses, cars, whatever you imagine. All right, that was NFT collection at scale. Our goal was to build tools for our team to handle collection at different scales. So I think we are still working on that, but hopefully we're going to empower every single creator to use these tools. Thank you, everybody. And now if you have questions, let us know. Yep.
Is this on? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So I might have missed it, but did you guys say where exactly you're storing the metadata? So are you doing it, it's off-chain, of course, but is it on IPFS or your own servers or what?
Yeah. So it's a good question. For avatars, right now in this moment is on S3, and for assets is on IPFS, but we have plans to migrate those to IPFS as well. We are doing that mostly because we were last year experimenting with dynamic NFTs, and changing the metadata was trickier to do it last year. Hopefully this year it's going to be implemented also on-chain.
Cool, okay. And then one more question on the same topic. So it's really simple to write the metadata, and then of course set your URI on chain. But like state expiry is a core part of Ethereum's roadmap, and so more and more metadata for NFTs is going to need to be off-chain. But inevitably, we're going to encounter the need to consume this metadata on-chain, right? So like, let's say example for this Bored Ape, it's got its gold glasses or whatever off-chain. Have you guys done any work at all with pulling off-chain metadata on-chain, so like using Chainlink or something?
Not yet.
Yeah,
No.
it's pretty complex, but it seems like everyone's going to have to do it, and no one's really talking about, like, it's kind of just hand-wavy. Oh, we're going to put all this shit off-chain on IPFS or whatever, but if there's any hope of actually having utility for all these, the meme pictures and shit, it's inevitable. But
Yeah. I'm glad to discuss more after that.
Yeah,
I'm
cool.
really.
All right, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Hey, how exactly do you go about securing the whole protocol? Like when you deploy a new collection, yeah. Do you like have multiple rounds of like extensive auditing? Like which firms do you use, and what is the whole process?
Yes, we use OpenZeppelin for auditing. We do auditing for each contract we develop, but at the moment, our collection run on the generic contract. And this one was audited by OpenZeppelin. We implemented all the request changes and so on. And yeah, that's it. And
Yeah, thank you.
Hello, great presentation, by the way. I have a quick question about, so you said that you guys kept your like data in Sheets before you guys kind of made those cloud functions
Yep.
to kind of ingest that data. So we're also having this problem where Sheets is kind of unproductive for non-technical people, where it's just a lot of data and it's kind of messy. So what did you guys find a way to like move this into like a better kind of way to ingest into these cloud functions? Because that's a kind of similar thing that we're doing and having issues with.
I don't have here the slides. Yeah, we are working on a solution to do that, to integrate everything. But yeah, it's quite in development right now. So we don't have like a fully fledged solution for that yet. Google Spreadsheet was really easy because you can then go and have like this collaborative environment in which, yeah, somebody can redefine the traits, can change something, you see the previews. We also have another system for our IPs to validate the art, so it was quite convenient, but it's not, as you mentioned, it's not manageable. And we are working on, I'm glad to show you after that.
Cool. Thank you.
there is one in the back.
Hi. Did you test the user experience for someone who doesn't own a wallet, for like a normie to buy an NFT?
Yes, that's a thing I completely missed. So at the moment, yeah, we have a team of QA, and also we are doing A/B testing with Web 2 users, and we are experimenting right now with card payments and walletless accounts. So that's a thing that we try to do in order to ease the onboard of Web 2 user into the Web 3.
Do you also have a user experience designer on board?
Yes, we do, yes.
Good, thank you.
You mentioned you have walletless users. I'm curious about how you manage those. Is there a custodial, or how do you manage?
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
So walletless users.
Yes.
How do you manage those? Is it an email sign up? Do they have a custodial wallet? How do you
email sign up, that's definitely first. You cannot mint without a Sandbox account, which is usually linked with a wallet and an account. But we are doing research in that area, so we are using a provider, so that someone that will create the wallet, and then you can claim your NFTs.
And we're still in, I think, 2 or 3 providers we are testing right now. So, and for our Sandbox account, you can create a Sandbox account without a wallet, but you need to connect then, and we have another providers for that, so we don't manage those data.
Yes, that's it. We should pick the...
Yeah, we'll meet after that around here, and we have the t-shirts.
Yeah, I really like the security one, and you should choose another question for the shirt.
Yeah, I will figure it out.
Okay.
Right, good. Thank you, and see you around.
Thank you.
Thank you.